Okay, so for the approach that we're going to take this week, we're going to be using the functions that are explained in the handout in the lab manual. So the lab manual talks about drawing circles, then drawing polygons, using arcs, using the offset command, then using arrays, and then finally using mirror tools, rotate tools, and then going into dimensioning. So there's lots of ways you could approach this activity. You could decide to draw this shape, then draw this shape, and then copy them, and then draw in the box. You could decide to draw all four individually, or you could try and draw this one, copy, rotate this side, then copy, rotate, or you could be using the array function, which we're going to be using today, which is a lot quicker. All right, so let's start. All right, I'm not sure if last lab session we had, it was made very clear to you the importance of this ribbon down here. It might have been lost on a couple of you. But down here we have our snapping tools, which is one of the most important tools that we can have. It allows us to snap to certain geometric features instantly. So this helps us a lot when we're trying to draw, like say, our triangle within our circle, or draw our center lines. These tools help a lot. So if they're not turned on for you, please turn them on. So some of them might be turned off. Please go into your snapping tool and turn on all of them on before we start. There's certain ones here that we won't be using, but it's just helpful to have it on anyways, like the node, parallel, geometric center. These kinds of things we won't be using so much today, but we will use them eventually. And each one of these has a different symbol. So the symbol is like, it's sort of like a green shape that pops up when your cursor moves over that point. So for like midpoints, it's a triangle. For quadrants, it's a diamond. For the center of a circle, it's like a plus sign. And for tangents, it's looks sort of like an 8. There's lots of different symbols, and you can explore those in your own time. Another important thing to do is to, when you come down here to the bottom, you're very far right, there's 3 bars, horizontal bars. Click on that, that's the customization. What we're going to want to do is want to turn on line weights, if that's not already selected for you. Turn on your line weights. All right, everything else is pretty much all you need. You don't need to turn on the transparency and all those things, just the line weight. So for some of you, you've already studied the activity and then you've already defined the line weight, but it hasn't changed on your screen. That's because you haven't turned on your line weights. And then your line weight tool is this one down here at the bottom. So if you turn that on, it'll show you your line weight that you're working with. But don't worry, we'll come back to this in a minute. So we started marking some of the labs and we found that, I'm not sure if it's anyone from this session, but before they've even started, students haven't checked whether or not they are using the correct units. All right, so by default, most of yours will be in inches. If you just go ahead straight into measuring out things and drawing your dimensions without checking your units first, everything is going to be in inches. And then when you go to try and set up your scale, it's all going to be off. So before you start, always check that your unit is in millimeters. So the approach we'll be taking this morning is we will be modeling 1/4 of this shape. Because if you can imagine, this is just the one shape that's copy and rotated 4 times. So we'll just be drawing this quarter, including this diagonal construction line, including this quarter of a circle. And then we'll just copy and rotate that 4 times to end up with our final shape instead of drawing it 4 times or whatever. All right. And when I start referencing like line lengths and stuff, it's all taken from here. This 70, 70, and this 5. So if you're lost anywhere, please just refer back to your handout. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw the outside circle in which the star touches. And that circle has a radius of 35. So if you can go up to your circle tool, or you can type in circle. Please, if you go up to the tool and you select circle, make sure that it's circle and radius, because you'll be entering the radius. If you select circle diameter, then when you come to make your circle and it says to specify diameter, you're going to specify 70 instead of 35. All right. So again, circle radius. Anywhere, doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be at the origin. Actually, I recommend that you don't use it at the origin, because sometimes you can get confused with this axis, the Y and the X, whether or not it's part of your drawing or not. So try and start your circle somewhere away from your axis. And our radius is 35. So 35 and then hit enter. Okay. We'll be moving pretty slow through, but if you're stuck anywhere, please just let me know. And I'll try and come and help you. Okay, so hopefully you all have this on your screen. No? Okay, so again, for those of you who are confused, to find out which unit you're using, type in units, so UNITS. Select that and make sure that your insertion scale is not in inches, but in millimeters. Some of you might have not done this step and you've done your circle and it's really, really big. That's because it's 35 inches. So just change your scale first, or your unit to millimeters, hit OK. And now go up to circle. Any point as your center and type in 35 as the radius. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to inscribe a triangle inside this circle. To do that, we're going to use the Polygon tool. So we'll go up here to our rectangle, click on the small arrow next to it, and you can see our Polygon tool. So click on our Polygon tool. And AutoCAD is really helpful in the fact that it gives you all of the information that you need every step of the way. So in order to use the Polygon tool correctly, you have to follow these steps. So the first step is to enter the number of sides. So we're using a triangle, so that's 3 sides. Hit enter. Now it says to specify the center of polygon. So our center of the polygon will be the center of this circle. Now, because we've turned on our snapping tool down here, it'll automatically snap us to the center of the circle. Now it says to define whether circumscribe or inscribe. For you guys who did technical drawing in high school, you should know the difference between the two, but if you don't, inscribe means that your shape will appear within the circle. Circumscribe means that your shape will appear outside, touching the outside circumference of the circle. Right, so your polygon will be bigger than the circle in circumscribe and smaller than the circle in inscribe. So we'll select inscribe. And now it says to specify the radius, we'll just bring our cursor and make it snap to this quadrant. This is the quadrant symbol, this small green diamond. We'll snap it to that edge and then click again. Right, so that's how we use the Polygon tool. If your center of the circle is not showing, please make sure that down in the snaps, you have center selected. If your quadrant is not showing, please make sure that your quadrant is selected. So again, once more, Polygon tool. So polygon, number of sides, 3, enter, center to center, inscribed, snap it to this quadrant, finished. Once more, polygon, number of sides, 3. So just type in 3, hit enter, specify the center. So the center will be the center of this circle. We're going to choose inscribe, sorry. And we will bring our cursor to snap to this quadrant. All right, it's a good idea as you go along to keep saving your work. So just save your lab as CAD Lab 2 or whatever. just so that if your computer freezes, you don't lose everything. So again, I'll demonstrate this time for the triangle that's going in the opposite direction. So polygon, number of sides, 3. Center of polygon will be the center of the circle. With these two options, choose inscribed and snap it now to the opposite quadrant. Okay, so in some of the other lab sessions, students have at this point gone and drawn a circle at the center and then done the same step, but using a circumscribed triangle to get this thickness here. To get this thickness of 5. Now, you could do that if you knew the exact radius of this circle, but we don't. So what we'll do is we will use the offset command, and we'll just offset this triangle by a distance of 5 millimeters to get the smaller triangle inside. So to do that, you can call the offset command, and that is up here in your modify tab, or you can type in offset. Now, the first thing it needs you to specify is the offset distance. Now, for us, our offset distance is 5. So just type in 5. And then it says to specify the objects to offset. So we will select one of these triangles and then click inside the triangle shape. If you click outside the triangle shape, it'll create it bigger. If you click inside the triangle, this triangle, the blue highlighted triangle, it'll offset it inside. Now don't press escape or like exit the command. We're still in the offset command, so we'll select our other triangle, click inside. Now I've created the star shape. So again, offset or offset, offset distance 5, enter, select the object, click inside the triangle, select the second triangle, click inside, and then once we're done with this, just hit escape. For remote students, this Zoom meeting will end in about another 10 minutes. I'll start a new Zoom meeting using the same login information, okay, to continue the next half of the lab demonstration. So unfortunately for you guys, you missed last week Saturday, and I think this lab is due tomorrow. So this lab session is all the time you'll have to kind of work on this activity, unless Dr. Kabir has announced that there's an extension for this. I'm not aware of that. So this will be due tomorrow. So if this is your session and you haven't started, please try and follow along as best you can so that you can complete by the end of 3 hours. So I want to try and complete this by the end of 3 hours from the beginning to the end. So to do that, I can't be moving around as often as I would with other sessions. So please just try and follow along as best you can. If I'm going too fast or you need me to just repeat a step, please just let me know. For remote students, your due date is not this Sunday. Due date will be later in the semester. I think Dr. Kabir has made it quite clear that you guys will be submitting a bit later since you are remote students. However, and this session is being recorded, so the recording will be uploaded to Moodle for you to have a look at and hopefully catch up or complete the activity. All right, at this step here, we are now going to start getting rid of some of these lines that are intersecting. To do that, we're going to use the trim function. So we used the trim function briefly in our first lab. So we'll call the trim function again this time. So type in trim, or you can just select the trim tool, which is this small pair of scissors up here. And as you move your cursor over the lines in your drawing, it'll preview which lines you may want to delete. So just go through and select the lines that you want to get rid of according to the handout. Welcome, students who just joined. Sorry for this morning. The announcement came through a little bit late about the Zoom link for this session. Like I said, this session will be recorded and uploaded later, so you guys can catch up and then submit your labs later than Sunday. So the deadline doesn't extend to you guys. If you have any questions, please just let me know in the chat. Right now, I'll just be circulating the room here in the face-to-face class. And when this session ends in 4 minutes, I'll be starting a new Zoom link using the same login information as this one for the next session.